Hey, I'm Jack Roberts. I'm executive editor with Heavy Duty Trucking magazine. Welcome to the Roadshow edition of Heavy Duty Trucking Talks Trucking. We're at the ATA show in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm talking with Magnus Gustafson this morning. He is the Vice President of Connected Services for Volvo Trucks North America. And we're going to talk today a lot about AI and the future of maintenance. And AI, as you know, Magnus, is a huge buzzword in the industry now, but Volvo is actually making AI work for Volvo customers. Can you sort of explain what's happening on that front with maintenance?
Yeah. So what we have is really a really powerful analytics engine behind the scenes that is looking at how the trucks are spec'd, how they're actually then being used. So not just look at time-based maintenance, but also look at operational input from the truck, right? So fuel economy and idle time and other parameters that we build into.
Even oil sampling, correct?
Even oil sampling. So we use the oil sampling to calibrate the models, ensuring that we're not, overextending oil drain intervals or underextending that, right? So it's really incorporating that and then optimizing these planned events so that you can maximize your uptime and really end up reducing costs. But it's more about optimizing the maintenance based on how the trucks are being used.
So really, for the first time ever, a maintenance manager kind of knows what's going on inside a truck at a systems deep level, even beyond systems deep. And you're going to get to the point where you can do both preventative and predictive maintenance. And a lot of people think those are the same things, but there is some difference in them, correct?
Yeah. So really preventive is more the way that I would define it is really about the normal, maintenance intervals. I need to change my oil every so many miles or however that truck is used, or lube the chassis or whatever it may be. I think when we get into predictive, we get into more kind of components. So we're replacing things, your alternator, your turbo, maybe before they fail, right? So you proactively replace them, but you still want to make sure you extend the life of them and don't do it too early, but also not that you wait till it breaks and you get sighted by the side of the road,
Is the system sophisticated enough that over time the AI engine will sort of learn your fleet? Like it could get down to the point where certain trucks in certain part of the country have different maintenance needs from trucks in your fleet that are operating in another part of the country.
Yeah, 100%. And that's another factor, right? Is that even though the truck specs may be similar, the actual usage will differ, right? So it could be topology, it could be regions of the country that are impacting when you need to do certain maintenance intervals, for instance. So all that is incorporated into the model.
CAT Scale Company provides the professional driver with an accurate and certified weight. We are the #1 choice for professional drivers. Look for the black and gold sign to get the weights you can trust.
And so, talk a little bit about how the process works for a Volvo customer. You get a email. Well, how does the system when it identifies a potential problem, what steps then begin to take place?
So, for instance, now with a Volvo Blue service contract, the way we deliver this service is really through our dealer partners. So each dealer that's selling these contracts, they will have a dedicated fleet manager, right? So that fleet manager, his responsibility is really to look after these trucks, work with that customer to ensure that we bring in those trucks exactly when they need it and coordinate. So it becomes a little bit of a concierge service where you have your personal fleet manager at our dealerships and working with you to accommodate all the needs that you have.
Now, there's a little bit of angst about AI. They think maybe the Terminator is going to start taking us all out because they decide, they don't need us. This isn't really anything to be alarmed about, and it's actually one of the more easier technologies for fleet managers to quickly get up to speed on, isn't it?
Yeah. I think the important piece here is that AI in this sense is not replacing a human, right? It's really leveraging the information, ingesting this information, aggregating it, and then you still are the ultimate decision maker, right? The person at the dealership or the person at the fleet is really the one that's taking this information and making the ultimate decision. The AI provides a recommendation, but it's not the ultimate decision maker, nor is it replacing anybody per se.
So this is an almost unfair question to ask you, but you've just rolled this out. You're very proud of it. But this is really just the beginning of what the potential for this technology is. I know you're passionate about this, so where do you think this will ultimately go? I mean, what level of service and uptime do you think you'll eventually be able to get to as these AI models improve and both you and end users become more comfortable with the technology?
I think that we'll see that we are still relatively conservative. So I think there's a lot more potential to extract even more value or extend, maintenance intervals and so forth, but really incorporate what we're seeing when the trucks comes in for routine maintenance. Is it behaving the way that we anticipate it? Continue to refine these things, but ultimately it's for the benefit of our customers to make sure we can reduce total cost of ownership by really optimizing these models and make sure that, we extend uptime, we increase the uptime, and then we maximize these planned stops so that ultimately you will not have, hopefully, breakdown that are due to mechanical issues.
Tired of dealing with less than ideal roads? So is Apollo Truck Tires, which is why we've engineered our Endutrax line for North America's toughest surfaces. From construction sites to gravel roads, Apollo Tires conquers the worst conditions with an industry-leading performance guarantee. In other words, they're smart tires for not smart roads. Visit ApolloTruckTires.com to learn more.
So I would think even downstream that for a fleet manager, later on you could get things, you just mentioned operational. I would think this data could be taken and looked at to handle route optimization, perhaps determine whether you want to take on a new customer or not, move into a different part of the country, and even ultimately how you spec the next round of vehicles you buy, because you'll know some things, components are perhaps working better than others. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And we also see that, right? There's been improvements or changes in the hardware on the trucks. You have direct drive versus overdrive. You have different rear axle configurations, those types of things. But when you hear those specs in relation to what you may have used to, they sound like they're not going to work, right? So we can use this data that we accumulate and we can really prove out and show that, hey, these specs, they do achieve these kind of results, fuel economy or whatever they may be. But we can leverage that data to also show and prove that what you may be comfortable has now changed a little bit, and you can try these other things because we're focusing on outcomes, right? And then how do we then use this data to kind of prove these models? We can compare specs side by side and different things, and we can slowly ease people into that this change is good.
Because you have data to quantify.
Exactly, yeah.
So I guess my final discussion point with you today is that the days where you would sell someone a truck and bid them adieu until for 5 or 6 years are really over. You guys now have to really work with customers in the entire life cycle and every aspect of the truck. Is that kind of how Volvo sees this relationship now?
Yeah, I mean, we have an aim to really become a total transportation provider to our customers. And like you rightly said, it's not just about selling them a truck and bid them goodbye, and maybe you see them every once in a while if we have.
They've got a major problem.
Yeah, exactly. That's not the type of relationship that we want to have with our customers. We want to be a business partner, and our dealers are a huge part of that, is ensuring we have a cohesive ecosystem with both products and services and our dealer network together.
Well, this has been very informative. I think there's an exciting future ahead in AI and trucking. It's interesting to see it begin to take shape. So we appreciate your time and your expertise today, Magnus.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.